Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. I am back with another Kindle Unlimited romance book recommendations video. Every few months I like to do a little recap of some of my favorite reads that are available on KU. I have a couple other videos of my favorites throughout this year, so be sure to check those out. But of course I have some more recs to share today. Starting off with a book by one of my absolute favorites. This is Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan, and I know I'm super late to this one. Like, I've read the rest of the Hoop series, but I just hadn't gotten to Long Shot yet until a couple months ago. And of course, it was fantastic because it's Kennedy Ryan. So this one is the first book in the Hoop series. It's a basketball romance centered series. It's got a bit of a forbidden romance, but it's also a very powerful story about domestic violence and domestic abuse. So the main characters are Iris and August. These two are so precious. They meet for the first time at this bar and they feel this instant spark and connection. But the only thing is that Iris does have a boyfriend. So nothing comes out of that first meeting, even though August definitely wants to. And then to add a little salt to the wound, Iris's boyfriend is August's biggest basketball rival. So as much as these two feel like fated mates, Kennedy Ryan always writes her romances so well that you truly believe in their love. Nothing really happens in the first half of this book. The first half is more about Iris and her whole journey. She slowly discovers how abusive her boyfriend really is, and she goes through a lot of trauma with that. It's vicious and tragic, and I was going through all the motions, especially in the first half of this book. Thankfully, the second half is all about her healing and finally her and August's romance. Their love is so beautiful, and I just was so happy to see her being loved and adored and cherished by her hero, because that's what she deserves. So this book is a whole journey. It definitely takes a lot out of you when you read it. So if you're looking for something that's like deeply emotional, that'll definitely hit you in the guts, you can't go wrong with Long Shot or any Kennedy Ryan book, honestly. And then I have two fantasy romance recommendations that are available on Kindle Unlimited. The first one is The Crown of Oaths and Curses by Bree. This is the first book in the Mortal Fate series, so there are two prequel novellas that you definitely should read before going into this first full-length book. Those are also available on KU. I had such high hopes for this one because I was obsessed with Bree's Bonsai Tai series last year, and this one, it was such a solid first book. Like, I'm so deeply invested in this story, in this world, and the romance. Even though it's barely begun, the romance is extremely slow burn. I'm still super looking forward to more of it. So this is an enemies to lovers MF romance. It's not reverse harem like Bree's other books. The hero is a prince fae and the heroine is a powerful witch who's lost her entire family except for her brother. And unfortunately, fae hate witches. So even though Rook and Soren are fated mates, he absolutely hates her. He can't stand her, and when they meet, he kind of throws her into his dungeon. The first half of this is very slow going. You get to learn a lot about this world. You get to learn all the paranormal politics going on. It's just a lot to take in, but once you start to understand everything and you get to like the middle, that's when things pick up their stride. It gets so good, so amazing. I love the fact that like everything in the beginning was slowly building towards the second half, and then it's like non-stop action and excitement to make up for the lack of it in the first half. And then the ending was epic. Like, yes, it does end on a cliffhanger. It's the first book in a trilogy, and like I said, the romance is very slow burn. It is enemies to lovers, but this first book is pretty much just focused on the enemies part. We haven't gotten to the lovers part. So just an FYI for those who are looking for some spice, you're not gonna find any here. But I have no doubt there's gonna be a lot of it in the next two books, or at least I'm praying, but I love Bree, so I trust her. But if you don't mind waiting, if you don't mind cliffhangers, definitely give this a try. And then the next fantasy romance on KU that I'm recommending is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Now this one is complete. It's a duet, so you can finish it up real quick. I've only read this first one, so I can't say how good the sequel is, but I did really enjoy myself. I had very high expectations for it because everyone was loving this book, and it definitely was really solid fantasy romance. I love the world here. I thought it was so interesting, very different. It's got vampires with wings, and then the heroine is a human who was adopted as a young child by the vampire king. So she's grown up in this very dangerous world, learning to protect herself, to defend herself. So Araya is a girl who knows how to fight. She then enters this very dangerous competition to win the favor of their goddess so she can be more powerful than the human that she is. One of the other contestants is our vampire hero, Rain. The romance develops a little slowly just because, of course, they are rivals, they're contestants. Only one of them can win this tournament, but they end up working together so that the both of them can survive, and there's a lot of great banter between them. And there is a big twist at the end of this book about his character that made things very interesting. It was my first time reading Carissa Broadbent, and I really enjoyed her writing. Araya was probably my favorite thing about this book, but yeah, if you love your fantasy romances with a bit of slow burn romance, with lots of action, lots of danger and intensity, then The Serpent and the Wings of Night is definitely one for you. Before I get into the rest of this video, I wanted to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Ana Luisa. Ana Luisa is a jewelry brand with an amazing collection of earrings, necklaces, and more. All of their pieces are top quality, they are tarnish resistant, they last a very long time, and each piece comes with a 2-year warranty. I love all of their different styles, so you really can't go wrong with Ana Luisa. Like, I have so many different pieces from them right now, mostly earrings because I am an earring fiend, but I just love rotating through my whole Ana Luisa collection. I did get 3 new pieces from them. They showed up in this little cardboard box, and each piece comes in its own handy little pouch. So I am wearing one of the 3 pieces right now. These earrings, they're called Bela, and they're like a chunky hoop, small hoop earring with a little twist. These ones I've worn so much since I've gotten them. I mean, I love that they're small, but a little chunky too. And then this other pair is called the Harley Pave earrings. It's this double hoop that makes it look like you have 2 lobe piercings. I've always kind of wanted another piercing, but this is a good compromise too. And then this last pair of earrings that I got from Ana Luisa, this one is called Abrielle. You can search up all these earrings by their names on their website, but this one is this light and dainty and dangly earring, which I personally love. It's got a cute pearl at the end of it as well. So right now, Ana Luisa does have a holiday sale going on. You can grab the perfect jewelry gifts for up to 35% off. I'll leave a link in my description for you to check it out. I highly recommend any of these pieces, or really any piece from Ana Luisa. They would make the perfect holiday gift for your loved ones. And they're all just so pretty. Like, Ana Luisa really is a staple to my wardrobe. So a big thank you to Ana Luisa for sponsoring today's video. I'm always super excited to partner up with them on my channel. And don't forget about their current holiday sale. You can get up to 35% off their pieces, so go check it out. And now back to the rest of my recommendations. This next one is perfect if you're in the holiday Christmas mood. It's a novella from Will and Ash, The Naughty, the Nice, and the Nanny. You can also listen to this audiobook for free on the Audible Plus catalog. It's a single dad romance novella with a very wealthy hero. The heroine had a crush on him back in high school, but then when he graduated, when he left their small town, he went off to become this very famous billionaire. Now he's back though in their humble small town with his daughter, and he needs a nanny stat because as much as he loves his daughter, she can be a brat. So Natalie gets hired as Maddox's temporary nanny, and they form this really sweet and wonderful romance. Natalie is a fantastic babysitter. She's the only one who's been able to manage his daughter. All the other ones have been scared away. I just love seeing the relationship between all 3 of them. It's a quick and short and adorable read. It's really perfect if you want something light and fluffy and Christmassy. And then I have to recommend one of my all-time favorite reads of this year. This is The Right Move by Liz Tomforde. This one was fantastic. It absolutely lived up to all the hype. I am in love with Ryan Shay now. I love Ryan and Indy so much. much. This one has all the good tropes. It's a basketball romance, a best friend's brother romance, they become roommates, and there is some great fake dating. So the hero, Ryan, he is a professional basketball player. He is literally the biggest name in the NBA right now, but because of his fame, he's had to keep everyone at a distance except for his twin sister. And because he loves his sister so much, he very reluctantly lets her best friend live with him after she found out she got cheated on. These two could not be more different. They couldn't be more opposite, because Ryan, he likes things in order. He likes things in their place, whereas Indy is pure chaos. He does allow her to stay with him though, in exchange for her pretending to be his girlfriend to impress his general manager. They go to all these public events together. They have to act all lovey-dovey in public, and it is the cutest thing. They even get invited to his GM's mountain house, so they have to share the same room and the same bed. The romance is wonderful. It felt so genuine and organic. I just love these characters so much. Like Ryan, even though he's a bit of a closed off guy, he has his reasons, but he's just got the purest heart. Indy is his perfect match. She is a total spitfire, and they just balanced each other out so well. I was just so impressed by this book. I absolutely adored it. Highly recommend it if you haven't read it yet. And then I have to recommend Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. This is the third and final book in the Knock 'Em Out series. This one came out a couple months ago and it was fantastic. Such a bittersweet ending to the series. The whole series is available on KU as well, so definitely read it if you haven't yet. But this one is Sloane and Lucian's enemies to lovers romance. They have known each other since they were younger, back in their school days, and they were also neighbors. So there's a lot of messy history between these two. They were teased throughout the series, like we never really knew what happened between them, why they hate each other so much, but now we find out everything. And as much as these two hate each other, they also desperately want each other too. Like they have wanted each other for decades. So when they finally do get together, it's like an explosion. They were just as hot as I was hoping for. Like the chemistry and the banter between them is unmatched. It was a fantastic wrap up to the series. I love the small town of Knock 'Em Out. Lucy Score does such a great job of bringing this small town to life. I just love a good enemies to lovers romance, and this one absolutely delivered. These two were so wonderful together. Like I could not fall for this tortured billionaire hero who falls for the only woman that he's ever cared about. And then for a historical romance that I adored that is available on KU, this is An Earl to Remember by Stacey Reed. If you haven't read Stacey Reed yet, I highly recommend her books. They are angsty and super hot historical romances. This one is angsty but also a little lighthearted too. It's inspired by the movie Overboard. So the hero literally falls off of his boat, his yacht, and gets amnesia. He has no memories, he has no idea who he is or where he is, so when the heroine sees him, she pretends to be his wife. Now the reason why she did that is because Georgie was a chef on Daniel's yacht, and she gets unfairly fired by his mistress because the mistress saw Daniel looking at Georgie a certain way. So pretending to be Daniel's wife is part revenge, part panic on Georgie's side. She takes him back to her home, which is a farm, and puts him to work, which he's never had to do before because he is an earl. We have a clash of the classes historical romance here, except it's just that one part of the couple doesn't know that they're from different classes. It was just a very fun and sweet and endearing read. I love Georgie and her family. I love Georgie and Daniel together. And I just love seeing this overboard twist in a historical romance. I also have to recommend two books in the Lost and Found series by Cowles. I recently read books 2 and 3 and enjoyed them so much. So book 2 is Echoes of You, and then book 3 is Glimmers of You. Echoes of You is the former best friends to lovers romance between Nash and Maddie. They used to be best friends, but Maddie was also in love with her best friend, and she knew that he didn't feel the same way, so she left him and left town to build a new life for herself. But unfortunately, she gets in a relationship with a very bad man. Now she's back in their small town to heal and start her life over, and of course she reunites with her former best friend, who is very happy to see her again, but also very confused about why she left him. Of course, he slowly realizes that he shares the same feelings as her. He becomes so protective over her after he finds out what she went through. Nash is so sweet and kind and understanding. He made a great book boyfriend. Like, he wanted to show her all of the love that she deserved. It's angsty, very emotional. There's so many ups and downs while you read this one, and there's also a good side of suspense here too, but it's a great friends to lovers romance. It's a little different just because these two aren't really friends anymore, but once they do reconnect, it's so beautiful. This third book is Gray and Caden's romance. This time it's got the brother's best friend trope, second chance romance, and fake dating. These two were together until something happened that caused Caden to leave Gray and leave town. And unfortunately, it was the exact time where Gray needed him the most, but now he's back after several years and he's having a hard time getting back into their town's good graces, which I thought was great. I love that everyone was making it difficult for him to be forgiven because everyone was so disappointed in him for leaving the love of his life when she needed him. So not only does he have to grovel to Gray, he also has to grovel to the whole small town. And then the fake dating thing happens because Gray's ex won't leave her alone and Caden's father wants him to get into a relationship. It's a mutually beneficial fake relationship, but of course all of their former feelings pop up again. Gray is one of my favorite characters in the whole Lost and Found series. Like, she is tough and resilient and so relatable. I loved her character. But both books in the series are fantastic. The whole series is available on KU. It's a great series if you love small towns and romantic suspense. Another one of my favorite reads of 2023 is The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. This is the first book in the new Campus Diaries series, and we are back in Briar U. This is a spin-off of the Off-Campus series. It's the second generation. The heroine is the daughter of the main characters from The Deal. Gigi is Hannah and Garrett's daughter, and she is also a hockey player. I was obsessed with the Off-Campus series back in the day, and I had such high expectations for The Graham Effect, and it blew me away. I had so much fun with this. It had me laughing and smiling, and I adored the romance. Both the main characters are hockey players. Gigi wants to make it onto the women's Olympic hockey team, and Ryder wants to impress her dad enough to be able to join his hockey camp. So they make a deal with each other. Ryder will train Gigi, and Gigi will put in a good word with her father for Ryder. The relationship at first is pretty prickly, like they don't get along the greatest, but then they slowly get closer to each other despite Ryder being a humongous grump, and it is so sweet. Like, the banter is so much fun. It had me giggling, giving me all the good feels. This book just had all the Elle Kennedy charm that I was hoping for. If you're an off-campus fan, you definitely need to read this. You will also be very happy to see all the cameos from the original series. And then I'm recommending Evil Enemy by Elle Thorpe. This is the first book in the St. View Strip series, but it's also pretty closely related to her St. View Prison series. It's a little different from her other series though, because this is a standalone. It's not reverse harem, it is strictly MF. The heroine is the owner of a strip club, and the hero is a police officer. Boston, the good guy cop, he becomes a bodyguard to this politician who's trying to take down Eve's strip club. So they start seeing each other all the time, and sparks are just flying between them even though they're on total opposite sides. There's all this great tension from them knowing they shouldn't want each other, but they do. It was just a great romance. I was really happy to be back in the whole St. View world because I love all the series from Elle Thorpe. I read St. View High, St. View Prison, St. View Psychos. There is another trilogy that I need to get to, but for the St. View Strip series, this was a great start. There's a lot of good suspense here too, like someone is trying to take Eve and her strip club down, and it might not be the politician. And then another recent favorite for me is Caution to the Wind by Giana Darling. This book has been a long time coming, but it's finally here. We can finally read the 7th book in the Fallen Men series. It's her motorcycle club series. We have an age gap here. It's a best friend's stepdad romance. May, the heroine, is childhood best friends with Chloe, and she has always loved Chloe's stepdad, Henning, since she was younger. Henning and May's connection has always been so powerful and unlike anything else, but then something tragic happens. Henning's wife dies, Chloe's mother dies, and it happens right in front of May, so it's very tragic, very traumatic, and it causes everything to fall apart. Henning gets sent to jail and May is sent away, but she has a plan for revenge for Chloe's mother. And then fast forward several years later, May is all grown up, she is still on her quest for revenge, and Henning is now Axeman in the Fallen Men MC. These two are decades in the making. Axeman now hates May, but he still feels that connection with her. It's so angsty. My heart was hurting for them, for what they went through. It was such a good read. The romance had me addicted. And the whole story was fantastic too. Like, there's a good amount of suspense. Chloe and Axeman trying to find out what happened with Chloe's mother's death. There's so much action going on. It was like non-stop entertainment, and it was all fantastic. And then I can't not recommend some Jessa Kane in a KU Rex video. Her final novella is My Stalker, My Protector. She unfortunately quit writing, but I loved this latest one. It has all the Jessa Kane goodness that you would expect, and of course it's another stalker book, so things get wild and unhinged. The hero is the heroine's brother's best friend, and he is also the heroine's stalker, unbeknownst to her. Like, he stalks her and terrifies her, so when her brother leaves town for a bit, she is a little scared to be on her own, so she stays with the hero, not knowing that he is the exact guy that she needs protection from. It was a hot and smutty read. It was exactly what I wanted from Jessa Kane, and I'm still feeling so bittersweet over her not writing anymore. And then a KU book that took me by surprise by how much I adored it is Lotus by Jennifer Hartmann. I love this one so much. It's definitely one of my favorites of 2023. It was such a fascinating read, and the romance had me hooked. This book is about a hero who was kidnapped as a child, and unfortunately he was held in captivity for 2 decades. He lost 2 decades of his life, and now that he has escaped as an adult, the whole world has changed for him. The one thing he never forgot about though was his childhood best friend, Sydney. She and her family were the only things really keeping him going while he was in captivity. So when they reunite, it is so heart-wrenching. Like, Oliver is having to deal with living in the 2020s now, getting used to things like cell phones and texting, and Sydney was right there along with him, supporting him and helping him go through it all. They were so fantastic together, and I love their reconnection. Like, even though they were childhood best friends, they're completely different people now. Like, their experiences have changed them so much, but the connection that they shared when they were younger is still there, and it was so beautifully written. And then my final KU recommendation is The Broken Vows by Catharina Maura. This is book 4 in the Windsor series. It's a second chance enemies to lovers romance. It's about Zane and Celeste, who have known each other since they were kids, and they've also kind of hated each other since then. Zane would always pick on Celeste because he would always want her attention. Their relationship growing up was very much hate-love, but they finally realized that they love each other in high school. So in the first part of this book, their growing up years, they do get together, but something tragic tears them apart, and they hate each other even more now as adults. There's so many strong emotions here. You can feel all the hatred and the anger and the hurt between them. Things get so messy between them, but even through all of the mess, you can tell how Zane and Celeste still love each other. Like, Zane especially, he knows that Celeste is the one for him, but there's just too much going on. Things are just too broken between them. So Celeste does have some groveling to do. This is a second chance romance that is just full of drama and heartache and emotions. It takes you through the ringer, but at its heart, you truly believe in the love between them. And that's it for all of my recommendations for some recent books that I loved that are available on Kindle Unlimited. If you want to share your own recent favorite reads on KU, please feel free to. As always, links to everything will be down in the description below, and a big thank you again to Ana Luisa for sponsoring today's video. I have a link in my description for you to check out their holiday sale. You can get their pieces up to 35% off. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!